Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Media Snack Meets. My name is Tom Denford, the co-founder and CEO of ID Comms. My special guest on this episode is John Osborn, the director of AdNet Zero US. Hey, guys.
Hello, gentlemen.
Where are you? There you are.
Welcome to Media Snack Meets, where we get to meet the individuals and organizations doing great work to inspire success and drive change through the global media and marketing industry. Because the best are short on time, we ask just 6 questions in 15 minutes. We get to learn what is behind the success, what it takes to make change in the industry, and what the rest of us can learn from that experience. Please subscribe to get alerts of all upcoming guest episodes.
Hello, John.
Hey, Tom. It's nice to see you.
Thank you so much for joining us. I'm looking forward to this.
Me too.
Good. So there can't be many people in the industry that haven't heard of AdNet Zero, but I know you want us all to do a bit more. So I think hopefully we can kind of create a bit more energy and appetite for everyone to support the amazing work you're doing. But so let's just kind of start off. Lots of people know you perhaps from your previous roles, kind of in agencies and things like that. So give us a little quick potted history, what it is you're doing now, how you got there, and in this role now, what is key to success for AdNet Zero?
Well, it's true. I have moved on from the agency side of the business, but I cannot escape the grip of this fascinating, awesome industry that I've been a part of for over 30 years now. I've grown up on the creative side and the media side of the house, and now I'm doing some would describe it as more purposeful work. I kind of think of myself as sitting at the intersection between profit and purpose. I am the director of AdNet Zero here in the United States. It's a movement, it's a mission, and it's a mandate. This industry's got to get on the front foot and help itself on behalf of the industry, but also the advertisers that the industry serves. So what we're trying to do is bring the industry together and set more consistent ways of measuring carbon emissions, which ultimately will help this industry, I think, move faster, further, but also, as I said before, I think better equip us and better arm us to service the clients that want this measurement and they want these best practices in place sooner versus later, because we are on the clock here. And so speed matters.
Yep. And I normally kind of ask what the key to success is, but you're an organization that really has got a very, very clear ambition, right? With a deadline, as you say. So just for anyone that hasn't heard about AdNet Zeros, maybe the clue's in the title, but what is it? What are you trying to achieve in the ad industry?
Well, the best way to frame the opportunity is to first start with the problem. The problem is the world is heating up. And so most industries, like advertising, have groups like us that serve as the center tent pole, the center water cooler. So we're not trying to get all the glory and invent all of these things ourselves. We recognize that it's very decentralized, very flat kind of an industry with lots of different specialties to it. That's sort of the fun of this industry. So part of our remit is to spread our arms as wide as we can and bring everybody together and have them rally around best practices and measurement standards so that we can create, more synergy. Right now, it's a little bit of lions and tigers and bears. It's really all over the place. And so the problem is a lack of nomenclature, a lack of foundational, I think, grounding. And to be very transparent and very direct with you, it's formulas. We're talking about formulas so that if one company is out there measuring carbon emissions, a for-profit company, it should be rooted in the same formulas and the same principles that another company is measuring. And that's important because at the end of the day, in order for us to make improvements, we have to first understand where we're starting from. Yeah. And frankly, we don't even know that right now. So the great news is, as we're sitting here, Tom, we're about to be introducing some new formulas around Cannes in a couple of weeks, thanks to the partnership we have with GARM. They've been out there sort of as the lead sled dog, kind of mushing the industry forward in the media group that we've got running. And that's very, very exciting. We've got other working groups that are up and running. Another one is focused on production. Another one is focused on events and sponsorship and things like that. So you can see Media is a piece of it, but so is creativity. So is event management. We're taking a look at how we do the work that we do. This industry is so fixated on the work itself, right? The work, the work, the work. That's super important. But increasingly, how we go about the work behind the work is equally as important.
Very good. Very good. Love it. And you're gathering huge support from across the industry. You know that our passion and what you and I have talked about is media and the impact of media, particularly on AdNet Zero. But as you say, it covers a wide spectrum, not just media, obviously creative and production, and lots of other things.
Definitely.
And many people, welcome to support that. On the media side, let's kind of maybe flick into kind of question 2. So I typically ask guests kind of what they're most proud of. I can imagine. Again, I'm kind of anticipating your answers here, John, but you can
anticipate them. You have no idea what's going to come out of my mouth.
Oh, I don't know. But that's why you're such a good guest always. But so what is it about media? The best thing about media, like what do we get really excited about? And give me a sense of what you're most proud of at this point in your career.
Well, I think media is really interesting in that it takes so much. The role of data and the ability to take data, one microscopic piece of information about how somebody lives her life or his life, and they're able to carry that through an ecosystem and connect that to messaging in the right place, in the right time, and increasingly with the right, additional metrics like awareness and attentiveness and things along those lines. More simply stated, engagement. And I think that's really, really cool. And it's frankly a world that I didn't grow up in. I grew up kind of as a translator, ingesting, briefs from clients and articulating them in a way that creative people could understand and apply their specialty to, and then in reverse, explaining back to the clients, the advertisers, sort of why this particular body of work, this campaign, delivers against whatever their business and strategic objectives were in the first place. So I was kind of like a two-way interpreter, if you will. Media is a very different thing. It's, tremendous amount of information and money flowing through incredibly large pipes. So on one hand, it's got incredible impact and influence. On the other hand, it's dealing with data that is microscopic and everything in between. I can't think of any industry that has that sort of duality to it. And I think it's pretty damn awesome, to be honest with you. The great thing about AdNet Zero in media is when you take a look at digital media and how it's grown up, a lot of I'm blessed to be, in AdNet Zero, where we've got the benefit of all these incredible companies and supporters, but they've also taught me a thing or two. And one of the things I've learned is how much carbon emissions are wrapped up in digital media, especially programmatic. And that runs on electricity, horsepower, energy. So what can we do through doing what we do a little bit differently, maybe a little bit more streamlined, maybe a little bit more responsible, maybe a lot more responsible? We can start to lower by being more direct, cutting down on the hops, getting rid of things like lazy load and other best practices like that. We can right out of the gate make impact on still delivering the same efficacy, the same impact, but with fewer carbon emissions, which is good for the environment and for sustainability objectives. That is a win-win, and that's what gets me excited. So to answer your question, there's a lot we can do in media, and we have a really good line of sight in our supply path and how the work gets done and the kinds of partners that need to show up to the table to get it done. Just one last point, if I may, what really is exciting from where I sit is we're now entering the phase, I call it like the golden age of sustainability, where all of these things that we're talking about on podcasts and webinars like this are starting to actually happen. In the last 6 months, I'm blown away that a number of partnerships that have been formed, sometimes within our group, but also outside of our group. The rapid rise of innovation. I've been hopscotching across town and showing up at different announcements, this, that, and the other, whether it's something that Sightly is doing or a new innovation from Innovid or something that Scope 3 is doing or Sadara. There is not a day that goes by that there isn't another announcement behind some other piece of innovation that is designed to not only deliver great media or great solutions through advertising, but also doing it more sustainably. So innovation, partnership, productization, that's exciting stuff for me. And that's why I'm excited about the media lens that we've got within AdNet Zero.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. And you and I have spoken about this. We're excited by it. As you say, like the opportunity there through some of the analysis work we're doing with advertisers to understand not just how to make their advertising more effective or their media buying more effective, but at the same time, having a beautiful kind of side effect, which is to actually reduce carbon emissions. These are easy decisions to make once you kind of isolate what's going against what what's generating kind of what emissions.
I couldn't agree more. A lot of what we do day in and day out comes down to making decisions, and oftentimes they come down to money, timing, quality. Well, I think there's a fourth leg on that stool that sooner versus later, and I think it's months, not years, is going to be a fourth criteria for how decisions get made. And that's going to be ingesting and making decisions also based on sustainability metrics.
Yeah.
And you're starting to see them. Some companies are out there talking about green PMPs and things along those lines. New ecosystems are forming right before our very eyes.
Yeah, it's very good. We're seeing advertisers make those decisions, which is really good. Brilliant. I mean, one question, you talked about being this translator in kind of old agency days, translated. I think you're kind of still playing that role, aren't you? Between the formulas and the climate science, and then us as an industry. Are you the the intermediary here that's trying to kind of bring these two things together?
Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, I've always been sort of wired that way, and I mean, not to get not talk about the broader world that we're all playing a part in, but I think that there are a number of things that repel people in opposite directions, and I don't really have a lot of time or interest in that. I think of myself as someone that likes to build bridges, like between different people. I think there's enough that divides us, whether it be, we can go on and on about all the various things that divide us. It seems like the list grows longer and longer every day. As the list grows longer, I grow more weary. So I've decided to spend my time doing things constructively. I like to build bridges and bring people together. Not that I'm a unifier, but I like to connect people, connect ideas. And sometimes when you make these connections, and amazing things happen. It can be a force multiplier, if done right. And that's what I look for. And it's amazing when it happens, because you can smell it, you can feel it, you can see the sparks fly. And that is one of the rare things about advertising. You can't find that in many other industries, but you can find it in advertising. You can.
Very good. I love that. Good. Okay. Well, so let's see. I want to talk about what you see as some of the challenges. I'm really interested in what you think is a challenge. What might be the barriers to making the kind of progress that AdNet Zero that you want to make? In media, what's going to hold us back? What's the big challenge that we need to overcome, do you think?
Well, I think working well as teams. We talk a lot about it. Advertising is a team sport. That's easy said, but how you actually do it, takes a little bit of finesse and some practice, and it takes a familiarity, frankly. You don't really mesh well as a team until everybody trusts each other and people are familiar with each other. So I think, part of the friction is how fast the industry needs to move, because speed is an important criteria in today's world. Those that move fastest oftentimes are the winners. So speed is a good thing, but speed is also a bad thing at the same time, in that sometimes we move so fast that we forget what it was we were trying to solve in the first place. So I think kind of capturing speed to make sure that we understand that speed, when done responsibly, can be really, really great. Speed done irresponsibly and without the right standards in place can be perhaps dangerous. And so that comes back to some of the work that I'm doing now with AdNet Zero. We're layering in the frameworks and the standards as it relates to sustainability. But speed, we need to recognize that as something we need to use that. We need to use that as a tool, but also as a weapon. Because if we take our foot off of moving forward fast, then we're going to miss the opportunity window that we have, which is that if we do sort of like flatten the curve a little bit and change the tide, then we can have an impact long term on the environment. I think about it in relation to AI and things like that as well. The rapid rise of AI and how we can leverage that responsibly. AI can be a very, very powerful solution for us as an industry if leveraged and used the right way.
Yep.
Again, going back to square one, which is the right frameworks in place and the right standards there. So I think that level of responsibility is probably the biggest, I think, thing that we have to contend with, both for opportunities as well as challenges, perspectives.
Good. Very good. Speed is a weapon. That sounds like leadership advice, but I'm sure you've got better things. So tell me.
Leadership advice. Oh my gosh.
I like it. I'm going to write that on my board.
My leadership advice is don't listen to John Osborn talk about leadership advice. That would be my first piece of leadership advice.
Excellent. Please refer to rule 1. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So I like to know, something that maybe somebody said to you in your career that's just really stuck with you over the years that you kind of refer back to, or something that, you still share with others.
Well, I'll throw out 2 things. I'll pick something really, really recent, and he doesn't even know. He has no idea I'm going to throw this out on this with you, but I'm going to do it anyway. Rob Schwartz used to be the head over at TBWA, and he writes a blog every now and then. And I am one of the readers of that blog. And I just read a great one he wrote the other day. And I believe his title of it was Me, We, You. And it really kind of encaptures the 3 big chapters of his career. And I related to it myself. First part of your career, you're so focused on building your resume, your book, your big, bountiful shopping cart of work that you're maniacally focused on you, wanting to make sure you get the credit and you build up that bank. Then as you get higher up and you get into leadership, it's about we. It's not about we, it's about the power. It's not about me, it's about the power of we. I've been there. I get it. I talk about we all the time. I hate the word I, blah, blah, blah. There's another step that he was able to articulate, which I loved, which is you. You do get to the point, and I'm kind of entering into that myself personally, where honestly, it's like I want to help others. It's about you, and I want to, like, what do you have going on? How can I help you today? What if I took you and connected you with you over there? Like that's that force multiplier that I so I love that whole notion of tracking one's opportunity from a me perspective, a we perspective, and then a you perspective. That's awesome, Rob Schwartz. Go find it, Google it. You'll find it easily. On the flip side, going back to earlier in my career, I had a great opportunity to work alongside the great Phil Duesenberry, the chairman of BBDO over the years. Think of those taglines that stick to the roof of your mind. GE, we bring good things to life. Visa, everywhere you want to be. These are great, iconic lines that just lasted forever. So Phil and I were sitting one day, and he had sort of matured like a fine wine. He was no longer the sort of like the person that scared people as he walked down the hallways. And he had all the time in the world for me. And he gave me some great advice. And I think it was stolen from Casey Stengel. Not that Phil would steal anything. He borrowed it. But he said to me, John, in your career, 2 pieces of advice for you. Number 1, you're going to struggle with decisions, between your head, what your head says, what your heart feels, and what your hands are telling you got to go make happen. Just at the end of the day, make sure you're listening to your heart most importantly, because if it feels wrong from a heart perspective, it probably is wrong. The other parts you can kind of finesse. And then the second thing is they're going to be people that are going to be following you, like the Pied Piper, your biggest fans, and then they're going to be detractors on the other hand, a whole bunch of people in the middle. Your key to success, and I chuckle even saying this, just make sure the people in the middle don't hang out with the people that hate you, because that could end badly. Make sure the people in the messy middle go with the winning, go with the rhythm. And I don't know. I just sort of laugh at that. But you know what? If we took that point of view, like there are a lot of people in the middle right now, and we need to get them to engage,
Very good. Very good. Love that. Good and unique advice as well. Sometimes, people, sometimes leadership advice, can kind of sound a little bit repetitive, but I love the Rob's bit, me, we, you. That's a beautiful.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. Another person had something on me, like he's like, everyone says they care, they write a check, they don't care. You know what to care is? To care is to act. Unless you're acting and doing something, getting out of your normal rhythm to actually do something to help, then anybody can care. Because if care is just saying you care, that's meaningless. To care is to act.
Good. We like that. Okay. So next question. So thank you for the leadership advice. Outside of media, outside of advertising, outside of AdNet Zero, where would we find you? Kind of, recuperating, recharging, relaxing.
I'm never telling. I'm just joking. Of course I will tell. I'm very lucky. We have a little getaway, a little cottage up in Vermont, and it's my happy place. And we've got 2 dogs and 2 kids. The second child is about to go off to college, so on the verge of being empty nesters. There is nothing that clears my head and is more refreshing than a long walk in the woods with the dogs. You got to be careful of the ticks, but if that's the biggest fear, I'll go with it. And I just love long walks around here, up in Vermont, with the dogs. A good hike is all I need. I do other things outside of the normal rigmarole of the ad business. I spend a lot of time with the American Red Cross and some other nonprofits as well. I'm particularly interested in giving kids a fighting chance, trying to pay it back that way, and try and do what I can to give people less fortunate, and especially when they're young, an opportunity to get a leg up and just have a chance to have their dreams fulfilled. Not always easy, not always a success, but I enjoy working with organizations like the American Red Cross and stuff like that. So I like bird watching too. That's kind of a growing hobby. I don't know how, not going to get many fans on that one, but I've just absolutely love birds, especially owls. I don't know. So that's a few things right there.
That's a pretty eclectic mix of things. I mean, you're definitely in the youth phase. I can see that. That's very clear. And very positive. Let's just kind of, we typically try and end episodes on a hugely positive note, which is not difficult for you because you're full of positive energy, driving us all forward. But think, what are your personal hopes for the year ahead? Give us something that we can look forward to, a year from now. What do you think we might have achieved? What do you want us to get to?
A couple of different things. I think we should all do a little soul searching and figure out a way to break this rhythm of everybody talking about all of the negative things and the things that bother them. And we shift the narrative just ever so slightly and just try a different practice, which is maybe start out any conversation with just simply like, what do we have in common? Because I think even some of my biggest, detractors would have to agree if I was in a conversation with them that there's something that we have in common. It could be the air we breathe. It could be but I don't know, whatever it is, but there's got to be something that we have in common. So that would give me great hope this year. And I think we can do that, because I think, we so often are living in the moment, and it's very difficult to sort of take that giant step back and look at the broader playing field. I think that we're going through a cycle right now, and I think that it's incumbent on us to break that cycle, to say, look, there's more that we have in common than that divides us. Another thing that I hope that we can achieve is in the space of ad net zero and sustainability and the environment. It seems like any kind of factual information that gets put out, everybody jumps in and wants to debate it. And that's fine. But I'm also a big fan of being roughly right and not precisely wrong. So if everybody's going to just pick at things just to pick at it, that's not any good. But at some point, we've got to kind of rally around it. So I'm a big fan of like, well, what if we stop debating like where everyone is starting from? Like, your carbon load is bigger than my carbon load. What if everyone just said, look, let's assume, forget about where everyone's starting from. The game is all going to be not where we start, but how we can make improvements. So we're all going to get gold stars, not because I'm starting at 5 and you're starting at 10. We're going to get gold stars for the improvements we make against that base. That's a second thing I would love to see more of. And then the last thing is a random throwaway. I got to be honest, it's been a long time since I've seen an advertising campaign that smacks me right in the forehead. I'm looking forward to a great resurgence of creativity and innovation. And I'm starting to see signs of it, and that gives me great excitement and great hope. So those are 3 examples of 3 totally different things that I'm hoping to see. I don't think it's blind hope. I think there's a good chance that at least 2 out of the 3 could happen. But those are my 3 random hopes for the year ahead.
Very good. Playing the odds. We'll get there. I'm looking forward to at least 2 of those things coming up. Love it. John Osborn, Director of Ad Net Zero US. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Tom.
Who would you like to meet on future episodes? Please let us know in the comments below. Subscribe to the Media Snack channel, where you will also find previous guests, including leading marketing executives from companies like P&G, Uber, LVMH, Mars, IKEA, and many more. Plus, some of the industry's most provocative thought leaders, such as Belinda Smith, Sir Martin Sorrell, Wendy Clark, Gary Vaynerchuk, and Professor Mark Ritson. You can also get alerts to hear about upcoming new guests. If you liked this episode and think someone else would, then please share it. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.